undergroundprepper.com, the latest Catholic prepper website with our good friend Jimmy Fifth. Thanks for joining us, Jimmy, and tell us all about this amazing news that you have put out recently. Is it live yet?
It is live. Uh, it is first. I want to say it is so great to be back. I don't know if you know, it's been almost a year since I've actually was on your site or
Oh, wow.
on your podcast. And when I got off, it was because I was starting this project, and it was consuming day and night for 11 months. So and we
Wow.
finally just got to the point where it was good enough to put out and begin trying to get people to learn more about prepping. So finally, we are live as of last week, and I can finally breathe. I'm exhausted.
It looks amazing. We're going to go through it today. We're going to talk all about it and why it's necessary. But before we do that, Raphael, can you lead us in a prayer?
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of thy faithful, and enkindle in them the fire of thy love. Send forth thy Spirit, and they shall be created, and thou shalt renew the face of the earth. Let us pray. O God, who by the light of the Holy Spirit didst instruct the hearts of the faithful, grant us by the same Spirit that we may be truly wise and ever rejoice in his consolation. For Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
I know that you are the creator and manager of afterthewarning.com, and you've been covering messages as well. And you've been inspired, obviously, it's inspiration of the Holy Spirit to get other people ready, and the urgency of this need for people to be ready for the uncertain future. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind this project?
I sure can. Actually, this project inspiration started 5 years ago during the midst of the last pandemic. During that time, everyone was hoarding everything that they could get. Especially, I can tell you, I still got totes filled with toilet paper from that. Forgot them because that's how much we bought, thinking that it was all coming to an end. And I can guarantee you, a lot of our listeners have done the same thing. But it became a problem. We were buying things, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what to get. We were getting things that were in plastic bottles, not realizing things could go bad. There was expirations. We didn't know what we were doing, and resources were getting low at the time. Shelves were bare all over the place. They were putting pictures up just to make it look like they had stuff in the supermarket on the shelves. It was ridiculous. And I was going to prayer a lot and to adoration because our area still had adoration when they had closed down all the churches. So I was still going there. And during prayer, I was asking, what can we do? What can I know that we need to be prepared spiritually, but we also need to be prepared physically, because desperate people do desperate things. And if you're not prepared, it just takes it takes very little to make a good person do bad things when they're watching their family starve, or they're not prepared to flee and they don't have anything. And it's sad, but that's just the nature of the world we live in. That's how it is. So I was praying about the idea, what do we need? And I was trying to gather various prepper apps and everything, but they were all talking different things. Some of them had some features that I liked, others had features I liked, but none of them had everything. And suddenly I felt inspired, especially, I must say, there's a prepper, a guy that's his name's Doug Berry, and he has an
Yes.
amazing course. And listening to him and learning from his courses, I was praying about it, and suddenly I felt inspired to create an app that kind of reflects everything I was learning. So I tried to start building that, and I lasted for several months. Needless to say, I failed on the first attempt. I didn't succeed at all.
Right.
I became complacent. I got bored. I didn't know what I was doing, first of all. I barely knew how to prep, never mind how to build the app to prep. I didn't know how to break it all down. And I eventually failed and let it go. And we got out of the pandemic shortly after and felt like life was getting back to normal. And then I started seeing visionaries saying, this is only the first of a series that we're going to go through. It's going to get worse. And eventually we're going to get to a point. I think one visionary said that, that was the first blackout where the churches had closed. He said there's two more coming that will be worse. And when the third one comes, I think he said it'll be permanent or something like that.
I think that was Father Blount that was talking about that in one of his prophecies.
Right. And it dawned on me, that was to wake us up. But if I become complacent, I'm not going to be prepared when the next wave of events come. And this lull that we were experiencing was a grace from God, a reprieve. So I prayed and asked, I said, what should I do? And I kept getting nagged on that. I already gave you what to do. You didn't do it. And I kept feeling this nag, and I kept resisting. I didn't want to build it. I did the design I had, the first one. It was awful. I couldn't figure it out. I was doing anything I could. I was willing to make games or program animations, anything. I didn't care. I just didn't want to do it. And finally, I prayed and looked up, and I said, fine. I said, I tell you what, if you could tell me that you want this built, I will do it. Next thing I know, I asked my wife, I said, what do you think? And I'm giving her all these different ideas. And she says, you need to build the Prepper app. And I said, really? And she said, yes, you need to build that Prepper app. That's what you need to do. I then went to John Martinez and talked to him. And his friends were there that were very spiritual. And they all started shouting, you need to build this app. You need to build it. And finally, I looked up in the sky. I was like, fine, I will take the hint. I will build it. So I began the process last year. Actually, it was a year ago this month that I started designing it. And it took about 11 to 12 months to build it, working from sometimes 6 or 7 in the morning till after midnight.
Wow.
I am sick of programming. I am officially ready to retire programming. I'm done after this. But nonetheless, I tell you what, I could not have possibly did this without my wife. She, every time I sat down to watch like TV with her or do something, she would like turn to me and look at me and like, what are you doing? Get over there.
Don't waste your time.
So I was kicked off the couch for a year.
Oh, that's harsh.
But, and I'll tell you what, I would never, ever have completed it if she did not do that. I wouldn't have. I was halfway through this. I was bored of programming. I didn't know how I was going to pull it together. Some of the features in this only came as inspirations at the moment I was ready to add it. I didn't have a full idea of what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was more or less being guided by the Holy Spirit, and I would ask him, what should be the main, I needed a mascot. He told me Bigfoot. And I was like, I love it. I spoke to a visionary friend of mine and to see what she thought. And she says, I love it. It's exactly what you need. So Bigfoot's now our mascot for prepping.
Yeah, I love it too. It's a very and we see the silhouette of the Bigfoot behind you.
Yeah,
it's very catchy.
My room for I'm going to eventually create a YouTube channel for prepping, and he's going to be part of the background here once I finally get it done. It's going to take several weeks, though, but we'll get there. So, needless to say, after a year of toiling, we finally got the project up and officially launched, and instantly found all kinds of issues with launching such a website. I didn't realize, when I launched it, I thought the world was going to say, I love it. I can't wait to use it. No, that is not what happened. We've been launched for a week, and we've been cut down in every way by every prepper group. I found out quickly, prepper groups are very
territorial,
paranoid. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But boy, are they paranoid.
Are they paranoid because of the fact that you're a Catholic prepper, or is it something else? Because we know there's a lot of Christian preppers out there, so-called Christian preppers, but not.
It was a
Catholic
mixture.
ones.
I had some people complaining that I didn't have enough religious symbolism in it. I should have Jesus at the very top, displayed for all to see. And then another said, from the United Kingdom, said, I can't use your app. You have too much scriptures in it. You have too much Jesus in it. Because you added religion, I'm not going to use this. And I'm like, I can't win either way. On one end, I don't have enough religious things. In the other, it's too much for them. They don't like it, despite all that this program offers them. But also another thing I found that a lot of people struggled with, as I was building this, my first goal was to make sure, I was going to use this app myself for my family. And the last thing I wanted is someone to be able to get into our database and say, here's where all of his things are located. They're in this shed off in the storage unit. And this is what he has, and I'm going to go get it. I absolutely did not want that to happen to me, nor anyone else that was going to use this app. So I built the app with the sole intent that you will not be able to go into the database and actually see anything that connects anyone to anything in any place. I made
So
sure
it's
that
completely safe from hackers or anything like that.
as best as I could do.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing was I wanted to make sure there was no connecting information.
Sure.
I don't want anyone's full name. I don't want their address. I didn't
Sure.
include analytics on the website intentionally because I don't want to know where people's things are. I have no interest in it. It's none of my business. Just like I don't want anyone else to know where my things are. So I didn't add analytics. I made sure there was nothing connecting anything to anyone. And I plain out told everyone further down on this homepage that the only thing connecting you to your account is your email address and your subscription. Your subscription is held in Stripe, which is extremely secure, and it is off-site from me. So I have none of that information. I don't have your credit card. I don't have your name. When you do subscribe anything, none of that comes. If you say your name is Mickey Mouse on your account, that's what I think you are. I don't know.
All right. So Jimmy,
yes.
I want to ask a question now. So a lot of people are asking, why does it need a subscription? Why can't you just put it all into one, free website? Can you tell us a little bit more about why it's necessary?
Well, I'll tell you one secret that a lot of people don't seem to realize. There is no such thing as a free app. If someone offers you a free app, they're making money in another way with your information. They're selling your data, your metadata, your location, your preferences, things you're interested in. They are selling your info to companies who will then try to either create advertisements to you or try and find other ways of reaching out or whatever they do with those things. I don't even know what they do with it. I don't even know how they make the money off of such things, but they do. There's no such thing as free. No free apps. If you get a free app, you're selling your data. And even if you pay for the app, a lot of them still want to know analytical data. They want to know where you're located. And a lot of these companies need that because they need to know where most of their income is coming from. Even if you are paying for it, they want to know what languages your people are speaking that are using their apps. So there is no, like I said, there's no such thing as a free app. You're paying for it one way or the other. You're either paying for it out of pocket or you're paying for it with your information. As for us, we can't do it free. I was going to. I got yelled at by my wife and two separate visionaries who said, absolutely not. You are not to do that. God does not want that from you. You need to charge us. You cannot give it away for free. So by the third person, I was like, all right, I'll take the hint. And because it was being built as
it's obviously it's going to be an ongoing work, and it's a lot of work, and it's going to be something that you're going to update regularly. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of new features coming in, and it costs money just to host this thing. I need server space, domains, SSLs, you name it. I need it.
It's a lot of money.
It's not free. It's
it's a lot of money. Yeah. I know I've got my Mother and Refuge website, and they start you off with like a 2-year deal where you get like a really cheap price, but then you get a wake up call once that's over. I'm just finding out about that.
Yeah,
so it's a lot of money to pay for.
Yeah, and once future development, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be not only creating like a YouTube channel for Underground Prepper, we're going to be adding new features such as messaging boards on there. We're going to turn it into a mobile app for both Androids and iPhones. It takes money, it takes resources to do this. I have to pay people to do some of the things. Like I tried my best to do some of the design work myself, most of the design work on the site, so I didn't have to pay, charge people to pay for someone to do it. I don't know how good it came out, but it's as best as I could do.
Well, it looks beautiful from the website, the front page. Can you walk us through it? Tell people what to expect and how they can sign up.
Sure, not a problem. So when you come to Underground Prepper, the first thing you're going to see, actually, I have it coming soon. Just so you know, this will eventually be ready, but I figured we'd launch before these were set up. Just so you know.
So both on Android and iPhone. Yep.
That is the goal, to get them up and running. I first have to, we're going through right now the period where we have to debug. If we catch bugs that are occurring, we need to fix them. I want to make sure it's stable and perfect before we get to the app part, and that all features that I need to do are added. So we have more development to do and make it run in Spanish so that Spanish speakers could use this.
Wow.
And then once it has both languages and it seems stable, we're going to work on the mobile apps. I'm also going to be focusing on YouTube channels to teach people how to prep.
Sounds great.
As you go further on the homepage, the first thing I wanted people to learn was the 4 tiers of prepping. If anyone needs to know, Doug Barry, he's the one that taught this. I love it. It made perfect sense. And I felt that this is what all preppers need to know. So I'm giving a shout out to him. Awesome. So the first thing
I
you
like
need
the
to do,
333. That caught my eye. 3
yeah,
days of prepping, 3 weeks of prep,
it
3 months
it
of
makes
prep.
perfect sense. The first goal is you need to be able to survive 3 days. You know, if you had, for instance, if you had a house fire or a forest fire, God forbid, coming towards you, and you need to run. We've seen that in California and in Hawaii the past year or so. You need to pick up whatever you have, get your kids, get your dog, get your bug out bag, and run. You know, so you need 3 days worth of supplies in this bag, enough to help anyone. Sorry, I want to make sure I say it correctly. 1 bug out bag per person should help you to survive for 3 days. Every person needs a bug out bag. So you have a bunch of kids, you need a bunch of book bags, enough supplies for them. Now, you don't need duplicates of everything. Like, not everyone needs a shovel. If you have 1 shovel in a family, great. You don't need a second. Helps, but you don't need it. But nonetheless, the whole idea was to break this into tiers. You have 3 days of prep, which consists of primarily a bug out bag. And you needed all the main supplies for prepping: food, water, shelter, self-defense, first aid. And this app will help you to ensure you got them. It's not perfect. It can't tell that you have enough first aid or anything. It will look at all your inventory for your bug out bag and tell you, do you have enough calories for the person that bug out bag belongs to? Do you have enough water for that person? Do you have a shelter for this person, like a pop-up tent? You know, something I didn't know until only a couple of weeks ago. A pop-up tent could fit in the palm of your hand. Who knew?
Really? I didn't know that either.
I got one in my own bag now. They fit in your hand. They're the size of a wallet. And it pops up into a tent. Amazing what people come up with anymore. Didn't know that. There's my shelter in my bug out bag. You know. And
so you're telling me, Jimmy, that this app is interactive. So does it tell people, you know, questions up for people regarding their prep?
It will tell you how many calories you are short before you can get to the next tier, which is 3 weeks. So it's using the tiers as a guide. In order to get to the next tier, what do you need? You need X amount of calories per person. How many people are in your account? How much water does everyone need? And it calculates that. And then from there, once you get enough for all 3, for tier 1 to get everyone's bug out bag complete, then it moves you to tier 2, where it tells you, now you need this many calories. Now you need this much water.
Basically, it walks you through step by step, make sure that everything has been sorted before you can move on to the next tier.
Right. And if you're in tier 2 and suddenly you add a new member in your account and you need a bug out bag, it'll drop you back to tier 1 and say, hey, you need a bug out bag. You need water for this person. You need this for this person. And it makes you get them before you could go back to tier 2 and so on.
Right.
And
so it is kind of like a game, a reality competition.
So the concept is get 3 days worth of prep first. If anything, that alone is worth the program. Even if you don't go into 3 weeks or 3 months, just having a bug out bag in case of emergency and having it ready, it'll monitor. You know, it's worth so much. If you pick it up and flee for your life, and you have it, you will be so thankful you took the time to set this up. If you wait until the emergency, or you wait to the warning, or you wait to the 3 days of dark, you've waited too late. You know, it is too late to start. If you wait till the next.
Well, I remember we had major cyclone hitting the coast of Brisbane. This was just a few months ago, and then suddenly on the news, like this was a couple of days before the cyclone would hit, they would say, you make sure you have your bug out bag ready. So everyone was scrambling to the hardware stores and nothing was there. We couldn't find anything. And we said, it's too late. We just had to take what we could. But if you don't prepare before time, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, and the people who are watching our videos, they're people who understand that we have the warning coming. Once the warning occurs, you are going to be hard pressed to get your bug out bag ready by then. You know, because everything is going to be in disarray if you wait to the warning. It'll be in disarray. Things are going to be in short supply.
Yeah.
We have only so many weeks before people might be told by their guardian angels to pick up and flee. Don't wait till the warning to get your bug out bag. Have it ready. It's better to have it ready and never need it than it is to need it and
And it's not only the warning, it could be anything. It could be, there's so many, weather events that are happening around the world, earthquakes.
Earthquakes. I'm going to be going just to rest from programming for a few days at a beach. I'm going to go and plot my face on a beach. And I just found out the other day, literally at the boardwalk of the beach I'm going to, they had an earthquake under the boardwalk. I was like, do I want to go?
And it's not even made. It could be just a blackout. It could be a blackout that runs for a week or so. That can be very hard to go through without electricity. So you need to be prepped for that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And now this program isn't going to go through everything. It's not going to tell you, oh, you need this much gas, you need this generator, but it does give you the option of adding them. But it's not going to guide you on that part. There's too many variables. But I guess getting back to the website here, just so we don't get too far off track.
Sure.
The goal of the program is to get you to first prep for 3 days for every member of your family. Then 3 weeks. If you want to go beyond that, go for 3 months. It gets harder as you go further up. I can tell you that for a fact. If you don't have any organization skills, it's going to be hard. Don't have organization skills, it's very hard. Yeah. And then doubling down, but it also does more things. It manages your expiration dates. It lets you know, and there's also new features we're going to be adding where it will soon send emails to say, hey, you have these items that are coming to expiration. You might want to address them, or they have already expired. Shuffle them in your system.
It reminds you.
Yeah, it's going to. There's still new features we're adding, such as emailing it to people, but that's coming soon. But it does show you on the screen that you need this. And here on the right hand side, we have the rule of threes, another great inspiration. I don't know where Doug found parts of this, and I kind of added onto it, and I have adopted this because it makes sense. And I'm just going to say this just so people can understand it. You really can't live 3 seconds without a will to live, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. If you lose hope, you can't survive more than 3 months. People most of the time can't live 3 years without human contact. No. And then most of all, for all eternity without Jesus. It had to be up there. And people were offended that I put that there. But I'm like, oh, well, make your own app then.
Yeah. Well, you can't please everyone, that's for sure.
Nope. No, you can't. And then I went on trying to explain what Tier 1 consists of and how we break everything down into food, water, shelter, defense, and first aid. There's plenty of other things you could add. I took so many different suggestions from so many apps and so many spreadsheets of whatever they all said to break things down into what categories. These are the 5 that I felt made the most sense. The 5 basic needs. So, and if you cover these, you're golden. I mean, anything beyond that, great. But
can I ask, what does defense include? Does it mean like a gun?
Could be anything. It could be a pocket knife. It could be a taser. It could be something a little more lethal or non-lethal. Anything to defend yourself. It could be a can of mace. Something. Anything. Right. At least you've considered the thought. I'm going to protect myself. Here's what I'm putting in my bag. For if I have to protect myself from a bear outside, who knows? Sure. Or someone trying to rob me, what am I going to do? It doesn't go into detail. You have to have this, you have to have that, but it kind of allows you to put anything in. As long as you put something in there, it marks it off as you got your defense taken care of. It can't calculate that you have enough. It can't do it, but sure. It's up to you to decide. But it'll tell you if you don't have it. It'll say, hey, you need something for defense, something, anything. Put a butter knife in your bug-out bag, anything. You can see here a basic screenshot of basically how things are organized. I'm going to be working on other versions of how to organize it to make it even look a little more intuitive. But for now, this works. I'm going to be adding newer features in case people want to see them organized differently. But again, it takes time. But nonetheless, the whole goal is to organize everything. And then we go beyond that to tier 2, where you kind of are going further down the road. This is no longer your bug out bag. This is extra things in your home. But if an emergency comes up, you'll still grab your bug out bag and you're out the door. I think this is the other thing that people complained about. They did not like the passages I added of scripture, but it makes sense. You know, the Bible itself warns, if you do not provide for your relatives, and especially your household, you've denied the faith is worse than an unbeliever. And that really hit me. You know, it's like, you know, we're responsible for our families. And if we don't do something while we have the time and while we have the
What are we doing? Yeah.
You know, we're letting our family down. Beyond that, I go into detail of what we tried to do to, you know, secure the inventory from the fact that we don't get any last names. We don't even verify your first name. You can put whatever you want. No addresses. I don't want none of it. But we also gave people some added features. If they feel ever that their inventory is compromised, they have the ability of locking everyone out. They could wipe their entire inventory if they needed to, or they could even cancel their entire account and it will delete everything from our accounts. We won't even have your name on there. You know, if you put your name, we won't have anything. It wipes it completely clean. Nothing is there. So you have that ability. We're not holding it. We don't want it. If you feel you need to delete it, you know, by all means, you have that ability. And that's what preppers need. They need that ability and that control to pull these things out if they suddenly feel compromised. And that there's another thing I wanted to mention that I did forget to say. I built this app as a family program, meaning, you know, you don't need to purchase this app for every member of the family. You just choose one person in a household, usually a father or mother who wants to control the account, and they could add every family member onto their account, whether they just want to add them to say, hey, I need to make a bug out bag for all three of my kids and my wife, or you want them to be able to log in and either have read-only access to see what's there so they know, or you want them to be able to edit and help you add and update things as well. They have that ability. And you can lock them all out if suddenly you think someone's account is not compromised. You know, you're not stuck with that. So then from there, I went on. We decided after a lot of prayer that our subscription plan would be either $7 a month or $77 a year. Chose that number because I was praying, what should I be charging? And it came to me, 7 is a holy number. How can you go wrong? You know?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not going to be, but it may pay for at least the system to stay running. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully it does.
The bank. Now, I got people complaining to me, how dare you charge that much? If you go to, anyone could go to like just a gas station store and they come out spending 4 times as much easily. If $7 a month is going to break you, this app isn't for you. You can't afford it, you know. But we spent more than that just by going to a restaurant, McDonald's, a fast food place. You know, just get yourself a burger. You've already spent more than that.
It costs $7 for a coffee here in Australia. So.
Oh my gosh. And then just recently, I added the try it out, which I'm going to click on in a moment. And this allows you to go in as a guest into an account I created. So you can see it actually running. Of course, we added some FAQs if people have some questions. And that was it from there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and click on the try it out so you can see. This will log you in automatically as the guest. Oh, looks like I got a bug. Like I said, I am still working out the bugs. One moment it seems to work perfectly, and then another minute, find something. So that's why I'm not making the app yet until I get all bugs worked out. But the first page it'll take you to is the dashboard. We're going to continue working to make this look better and better because it's a lot of information, and it's like, where do I put it all? How do I organize it? So, but when you come here, the first thing it's going to tell you is what tier you're at. You're on tier 1. Your goal is to make bug out bags for each family member for 3 days worth of supplies. And of course, underneath it, I tell everybody, I remind you, what are the tiers of prepping? So, you know, just because you've seen it once on the homepage, you'll probably forget it. But if you see it every time you log in, you'll remember 3 days worth of supplies, 3 weeks, 3 months, then doubling it down. So up here is one of the many places where it's going to tell you what the next task is that you need to do. In this case, for this user, I have enough food and water and supplies for everybody, but I don't have all my bug out bags completed yet. So as you can see here, each bug out bag is it'll mark what is good, what is complete, and what is missing. And so that way you have a basic idea. And it'll also tell you what's missing. For instance, Sandbox Pearl. She needs to see
Can you zoom in on that box so people can see it a bit better?
What was that?
Can you zoom in on that box, the bug out bags box?
I don't think so, because unfortunately how I built this, it keeps its form based on the size of the screen. So no matter how far I zoom in or out, it's going to stay the same.
It's going to keep the form. Yep.
Sorry.
It's awesome. It's an awesome resource. I just wanted to see it because it's basically like a checklist, isn't it? A comprehensive
this is a simplified checklist. It tells you what is pending for this person, for this person's bug out bag. If everything's completed, you see it marks them all in gold. The others, it'll leave them unchecked as you need, and it'll give you some idea of what's missing. Once you go from there, you'll notice over here to the left, I have everything broken down into categories. After going through hundreds of documents to see what every prepper program and spreadsheet had, these are the ones I felt were the best to break things down in. From camping and shelter to clothing and cooking and fire and first aid. And as you can see, this is a read-only one, so I don't have the ability of adding, but when you have an account, you'll see an ad up here and a recommended list.
Sure.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to log in as that. So give me 1 second.
Okay.
So that way, because I want you to see what this could do. So we're going to go ahead and log in as that user. So now I'm logged in as the user, so I could actually show you this. For instance, if I go over here in my account, I have this add item, which allows me to just add anything I want for this category. Or you can do a list of recommended items. You don't have to use them. Or you can select one and change the naming if you want. For instance, tents and tarps. I have this marked right here with this icon, meaning there's 5 different icons for basic needs. This is telling you that this is a shelter basic need. So if you select anything under this, the system will mark it as you have a shelter item. And then, of course, this tells you, this icon here says, this is a good idea for your bug out bag. Of course, you don't need to.
Yeah.
That's a recommendation. So,
say awesome.
It's
very comprehensive.
Oh my gosh. There's over 1,000 different recommended items throughout this thing. Some of them are crazy. I mean,
is that lighting?
What was that?
Was that lighting?
Lighting, such as candles, flashlights, oil lamps. If you don't see something you want, then you can just go and add it. It's all right. But if you say
that's a big deal during blackouts when we're having the cyclone here. Everyone was searching. I was searching for a torch. I went through all the stores in town. I'm going to find a single torch. They all sold out. So we had to do with our little pen torch while it was.
You should have had it ready. So, but say if I decide, yes, I want to add this to my bug out bag. So I'm clicking that. Now it comes up. It automatically sets it under the category it needs to be, and it populates the name. I can click on here and change it. Don't mind this icon. This is actually something built on my browser. I wish I would have thought of it. I should have turned it off before going here. You will not see these. They're mine. So ignore them. But in here, each category has their own unique optional items. You don't have to fill them out. You can if you want. In this case, this won't take anything. But if it needed batteries, I could select, hey, this needs batteries. Is this where am I storing this? I'm going to be having this in someone's bug out bag. Who's the owner? Bob's the owner. Wow. Or I can set this as, it's anyone's, especially when it comes to basic tools. It could be anyone's. I can mark if this is a tradable item, which will then get recorded in my inventory list. And I can pull up all items that are tradable if I need to find things I could trade for something I need. So, and it will allow me to go ahead and add that.
So tell us a little bit more about tradable items. Does that mean it could be traded with something else? How does that work?
Well, actually, it's just marking it as something you're willing to trade.
Right.
For instance, like I just marked this flashlight as something that's tradable. Now it has this icon next to it. When I open this up, it tells me that it requires batteries because I marked it as needing batteries. It tells me where it's located. I have it in my bug out bag. And even though this seems a little trivial of filling this information out, when you start getting hundreds and thousands of items, you'll be wondering, where is this? Yeah. It's in 1A in my closet. Now I know where it is.
Well, can I ask a question? And I know that Raphael's got a few questions he wants to ask too. But what if the internet is out? Can they still access their information? on the app or on the website? Is there a way to get that information without internet?
Not yet. That is going to be the mobile app version. It'll download everything. But what you can do in the meantime is down here under inventory reports. When you go to that, there is different categories you could select and print out things in periodic intervals as you feel you got, like say, like, you know what, this week I'm done. I'm going to print this out. I want to know all my tradable items in all categories.
Yeah, I get you. So you can print it out. You can print out the whole list, so that way you will be able to access the whole organization.
Yep. So now this is all my tradable items. It breaks it down. In this case, I said give me all categories. But if you have a whole lot under just camping and shelter, you can mark it. Say, hey, I just want to know what's under camping and shelter. They'll show you it. Then you could print this out either in PDF form if you need it for a mobile device or not, or you can print this out paper-wise if you want to do it that way. Click on it, print it. Cancel there because my printer's not connected.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so you've thought everything out, obviously, Jimmy. It's quite detailed. It's amazing. I can't believe it took you only 1 year to create this.
Like I said, if it wasn't for my wife, it would not be done.
Wow.
But you can break anything down in all these filters. You want to know what's in your storage area. Like I have tote 1A. Click on that. Now I see everything that's going to be in that tote. So, and as you can see, I broke everything down into these categories. I even included spiritual needs because I felt this is something important.
Yes.
If I found that several people who were against my app because there was spiritual things, I felt sad for them because I'm like, all the physical prepping in the world is vain and useless if you do not have a relationship with God. If you're not trusting in Him, if you don't believe in Him, you can't get physically prepared if your spirit is not prepared first. You can't do it. All those, if you didn't know, the world elites have bunkers and are prepping, because they believe that they're going to rule the world in the end. All the preparation in the world isn't going to save them. It's not going to, so don't follow in their footsteps. Make sure you have yourself right with God first, and He'll guide you on helping to prepare you physically as well. And in here, I wanted to make sure you had as many things I could think of, whether it was various books. I have a pocket Bible I put into my bug out bag, or if you have various sacramentals, other spiritual items.
Awesome. Yeah.
I tried everything I could think of. When it comes to food, that was probably one of the largest sets.
Sure.
Because, I even added alcohol, which people were surprised. But alcohol is tradable. It's when there's no money, alcohol is gold. So if you have small batches of this, that is tradable for things that your family needs.
Right. Now I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's interesting. Very, very good point there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that people never think of unless they get into this prepping world. It's a whole new world of information.
Now, unfortunately, I'm sorry if anyone goes to the beans. I kind of went overboard with the beans. I see so many and I didn't think of it until I added them all. But there's 1,000 beans in there.
I thought there's only baked beans. That's all I know about baked beans.
I don't even know what most of those were. But, no. This was the best I was able to come up with on how to break it down. But not everything under food is considered a basic need. Like if you have baking goods, they're not basic needs. Because they're not going to give you the nutrition you need. So I didn't mark them as that. Only these things that are under these categories are really going to be considered a basic need.
Essential. Yeah.
And also, just so you understand, you don't need to use all of these categories. In fact, you don't need to use anything other than just what you want for your bug out bag. And talking about bug out bag, if you want a simple summary of what's in your bug out bag, I have this option down here, bug out bag. In this case, I have the bug out bag for Sandbox Bob. And here it'll tell you if this bug out bag is short any calories, if it's short how much water, or if it's met. Like in this case, my needs are met. And I see I have the wrong color. Another bug. Always working on it. But nonetheless.
Do you also include vitamins that people can?
I did not, but it doesn't mean you can't add them. Just like I said, you could click add here. And in fact, when I grabbed my bug out bag and added my bug out bag to this, I actually went to this page because this page has an add item, but it covers all categories. And this is a shortcut for anyone who wants it. You can click on recommended, and it first shows you all the categories, in this case, food. And then when you click on it, then it shows you all the subcategories. And then you can go in and just click on and add it. It will let you add whatever you need, including things like expiration dates, You don't have to, but you can put them in. But I just felt this page was so much easier to add everything in because it was all right there. Or if you click on that and hit add, it again shows you all the different categories and you select which one. But you don't have to do it here. You could do it under the category itself if you want. Either or. I just liked it here. But anyway, when you open this up, it'll first break down all the different categories for this bug out bag. And then under there, when you open that up, it'll start showing you basically everything in this category for this bug out bag. I have a deck of cards, which is marked as tradable. So that's where that is. Here's the flashlight we just added, and it'll tell you how many you have. I have 2 bivy bags in this bug out bag. Or if you want to see what else you got in your bug out bag, apparently I put some rum in there. I don't know why. But you could, whatever you need, and it will show you this and break it down so you can see it. Every item that's in this organized. And if you fill up your bug out bag with a lot of clothing, like children need clothes, this will show you all the clothing you have, broken down into all the many categories that there are: shirts, pants, undergarments, whatever. It'll show it all. Another feature that we added here is the settings section, and only the administration has access to this. So if you're read only, you're not going to see any of these. If you're a member, I don't think you could see this either. You could either get to it from here, you can get to it from the dashboard, you can get to it from up here. But in the end, you have 4 different sections. You can manage your members, your storage areas that you want to store things in, if you want to. You don't have to. You can manage your subscription, or you could edit things in your account, including deleting the account and wiping it from the system if you feel compromised. So I'm just going to click on that. And in here, as you can see, I am the Sandbox Bob here. I'm the administrator. I added two my family members, but I did not invite them in. But if I choose to invite them, and I click on this, I can select if they're read only or if they're going to be able to read and write. And I can send an invite to their email, and they will go through the process to create their account, and they'll be allowed to log in with the permissions I grant them. I could also delete them at any time, or if I feel they're compromised, under accounts, I give you the ability of locking all members out but yourself. Right. That way, everyone gets locked if you think someone is peeking in for whatever reason. Never know, but I know a lot of preppers, they get worried of people seeing their content.
Sure.
And of course, over here on the right hand, I gave the ultimate tools. You could click on this and it'll ask you, do you want to start over and delete everything? And it will wipe all your inventory, giving you a clean slate if you wanted to, in case if you felt you needed to start over, things are too old and it's just too messed up, or if you want to quickly just wipe everything out in case you think someone's looking at something for whatever reason. Or worst case scenario, you could delete everything. It will go even into Stripe and cancel the subscription if you needed to. But it will delete everything. If you use it, it is irreparable. You will have to create a new account. I cannot.
Jimmy, do we have to sign up through Stripe, or can we do it through PayPal, or not? That doesn't work.
I was trying, but apparently most PayPal does not work on Stripe, except for in a few countries in Europe. Yeah, they do not allow it. I have no clue why. I think it's because they're competitors.
Sure. How about like credit card?
In Stripe, it allows you to use your credit card.
Right. Okay.
Or a couple of other options that it'll provide as well.
I've never used Stripe before, so I didn't know that it allows that. Yeah.
A lot of people think they haven't, but they actually have. They just don't know they have.
Right.
A lot of credit card companies that you go through online use Stripe.
Oh, really?
You don't see it.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. They'll incorporate it on their screen in their website, so you don't see that it's Stripe, but it is Stripe using it. I did not want anyone's information whatsoever on the system at all. So when you click to subscribe, it takes you to Stripe, so that way they have your info. Right, but it doesn't come back to me. Yep. It just tells me, here's the subscription ID, they're subscribed, and it's connected to your email address. And the email is the only thing I have that connects you to your account. So it is your job to keep your email secure. I can't do that for you. That's the only thing connecting it.
Okay. Wow. So, Raphael, did you want to ask a few questions in the last 10 minutes or so?
Jimmy, how of course, people will be concerned about the security of their account. How can we be assured for each subscriber or customer that their accounts are or their info are secured?
Challenging question. Okay. Well, as for me, I first of all, I made sure that this was secured with an SSL to make sure that everything is encrypted. The only information that I have of yours is an email address, but even that I encrypted, which means if you call me or get a hold of me with a contact form saying, hey, can you go in my account and fix this? I really can't, because you're in my database. Your email is encrypted. I have no idea what record is yours or how it connects to anything. It becomes a jumbled mess to view. And I intentionally did that, even though it would make it hard for me as a programmer. But I absolutely did not want anyone to ever be able to get that information and parse it out and figure it out and say, oh, Jim Fifth has all of his supplies stored at this location and this is what he has. Not going to find it out. The only thing that someone could do is if your email is insecure and they have access to it and they can get in things that way. But that's the user's responsibility.
That makes sense.
Now, anything beyond what I've provided here, there's only two other options. So just so you understand, because I had a lot of people angry or arguing with me the past week about the security. They're like, well, this is online, which makes it insecure. Yeah, that's true and then untrue. It's not really that accurate, but there's people who don't trust anything online because it's out there on the web. First thing I could say, we did our best to make sure everything was secure, that if someone even looked at the database or somehow got it, you never know what hackers come up with. But if someone managed to pull that off, they still can't figure things out. There's no credit card information. There's no address in my system. I have nothing. I don't even have your real name. I don't have your last name. The only thing, you can name everyone in your family, Mary, Mo, and Jack, and it's not going to tell them anything. The only information they have in there would be an email address, and that's encrypted. So it's going to be hard pressed for anyone to get anything out of the spaghetti mess they'll see if they've seen in there. You could also, if you needed to, you could right click on any page, go to inspect in the browser, and it will actually show you the code. And if anyone wants to see this, you could go in here and see that there is absolutely no analytics in the system. I intentionally did that. I did not want analytics at all. And that means that I have no idea where anyone's located. But it also means Google has no idea where anyone's located. So that was the best I was able to do in a web environment. The next option is going to become the mobile app once we develop it. And that's going to actually download the data onto your phone. And we're going to try and include things like an option where it doesn't store things on the web. It only will store on the phone if you choose it. That'll become a problem, though, if you're trying to allow others to communicate with your or see your inventory. But we'll tackle that when we get there. And then the third option is writing everything down yourself in paper or having your own spreadsheet and hoping to God that your computer is secure and no one sees it. It's a mess and it is hard, but if you're capable of doing that, all the power to you. My app is not going to be for you because you have a better system than I got. This is for most of us who are never going to take the time to create spreadsheets and monitor every single little nuance, writing down or typing in every single expiration date, where every item is located. Every time we make a snack or a dinner, we go to our spreadsheet and edit it. If you're not doing that, and I'm not doing that, then this is probably going to be the next best option for you. And I also want to dispel one thing, because I had this conversation with someone where they thought, I have all my things on an Excel spreadsheet on my computer. Your thing is insecure compared to what I got. Everything of mine is perfectly secured. And, yours is nonsense. I said, well, good for you. First of all, that's not a guarantee, because anything that's on a Microsoft product is probably also going to the cloud. And I can guarantee you that even though you think that you're protecting yourself by not adding your email into this, I can guarantee you the government can use AI to instantly find everywhere your email has connected to. If you went to Amazon and you bought something for your prepping inventory, they know you're a prepper. They know where it's shipping to. They connect it to your credit card. They connect it to your email address and anything else that uses them. AI is instantaneous today. It's hard. You can't really protect yourself that well unless you're really off grid. So you're to that point, all the power to you. This app's not for you. This is for anyone who wants to just be
Are
prepared.
there a lot of people like that out there that are
Oh
actually
my
went
God.
where they're
I had
off
no
grid?
idea there were so many.
Really?
But
Wow.
we went on to several various forums for preppers and tried to share it. We were excited, and instantly we got backlashes so bad. People, without even reading it, instantly were accusing us of trying to steal it, where they trying to find out where they're hiding their prepper stuff, and we wanted to steal their information, even though we have insisted we're not stealing nothing.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, they are. It is an environment where the ones who would survive in that environment are the ones who are most paranoid, and it's sad to think that, but I understand. I'm trying to get into a group of people that are naturally paranoid and will protect their things at all costs. And I finally explained to my wife, these are not, these aren't the people we're trying to reach.
Sure.
They have their things. They have their systems.
Yeah.
They're already set with what they need.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
They got their pads or their Excel spreadsheets. They've somehow secured themselves on VPNs, hoping to God that there isn't a back door into it, and they believe in what they got. Great for them. They're not my customer. My customer are the people that they can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not even going to put the time to do spreadsheets. If you hand me a spreadsheet, it will probably sit on my desk for the rest of the time it exists, because I will not get to it. And that's who I'm working this for. Is I want people to have an easy way of getting in there. The government's not going to care if you have a bug out bag. Now, if you're a hardcore prepper, you're prepping for years, they're going to be interested in you. And if you ordered stuff on Amazon, they already know about you. So, it's not.
There you go.
I'm not.
It's almost impossible to stay anonymous in this environment. Yeah.
It is. So this is more for the people who want to be prepared. If you need 3 days or 3 weeks, the government itself tells people have 3 weeks
right.
or 3 months of supplies if a natural disaster occurs, because they're occurring more and more. And they tell you, get prepared. Be prepared. If you wait till
well, I had to go on the government website when I was in the situation during the cyclone to prepare my bug out bag. I had to go on the government website, which guides you through it. So I knew about your website. I went to you instead. There you go.
That's funny, and we all do it.
And that's shame on me. Shame on me.
So unless if you're literally off grid and not on the internet at all, and you've expunged your entire footprint from the web, they probably could just use AI and find out every single person who has ordered something on Amazon for their prepping gear, and they'll know where it is. So in this case, I'm saying it's better for you to get a bug out bag, maybe have a couple of months worth of supplies. It certainly wouldn't hurt. If you need it, you will be so grateful you did it. If you wait until the emergency
I think it's essential for everyone to go through at least T1 and then T2.
Right.
They're essentials.
And I wanted to show you this just so you have an idea here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, I think. Let's see. Does it stop it? Okay. So this is my bug out bag. It is heavy.
Love it.
It is filled. And this is pretty much what you will see when you go to the test page up here. You will see the gear, most of the gear that's in this. And I'm going to give the audience one piece of advice to make it easy. Super easy. Go to Amazon or something like it. Look for bug out bags and get yourself one. It won't be complete, but it will give you all the basics to get you started. It'll have so many things. That's what I did. I went and got this and then a couple of other additional things I wanted. I plugged it all in the app and then found out, what am I missing? I need some more calories. I need some water. I have a pack of water underneath this. I mean, you can't put the water in your bug out bag. It's heavy. But if I could grab this and grab the water and run out, I got what I need.
You're sorted. Yeah. Wow.
Got this. And it has tools in there. It has some self-defense items. It has my pocket Bible and some holy salt and holy oil in here. I have that if I need it. I have first aid in this. And it sits at the door on a hook, hoping I never, ever, ever need it. But it's there if I need it.
Wow.
And that's the whole
Awesome.
purpose.
Well, that's what I'm going to be doing soon. I'm going to be buying one of those and then filling it up, the rest of it up through your website. So awesome.
And that is what we've built over the past year.
Oh, that's an amazing endeavor. Raphael, any final questions?
Jimmy, what can what is your message for those who are critical or skeptical of prepping, especially those in the secular world, or even among Catholics and even followers of end times or private revelation messages who are skeptical or against prepping?
Okay. Well, first, I would suggest if you're a believer in scriptures, prepping is throughout the Bible. It is. There's nothing that says don't prep, only be prepared spiritually. Don't, abandon all physical things. Nothing says that in the Bible at all. Every once in a while you'll hear someone take something out of context and say that, but that's not how it is. The Bible itself promotes and encourages prepping, but also it emphasizes if you don't have a relationship with God, all the prepping in the world is useless. It's vanity. It's vain. It's not going to help you. You might be able to survive a little while, but that's up to God's choice in that case, whether or not he's going to have mercy on you, even though you're ignoring him. So that would be my first suggestion. The scripture itself says, to be prepared. And in fact, it says if you don't prepare and take care of your family, especially your members of your household, you are worse than a heathen, worse than a what is that? A non-believer. They're saying you're worse than a non-believer. I mean, if you're in the scriptural reading scripture, what's worse than a non-believer? Apparently someone who is not preparing for their things with their family. Now people do take it out of context. They'll say, oh, how about that parable about the person who was building barns? And we just heard it about a week or so ago. The person who said, I'm going to tear down these barns and make bigger barns. You're not carrying a barn on your backpack. This is not a barn.
It's not a barn. Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
This isn't a barn. I'm not helping you to create a mansion and fill it with all your stuff so you can live happily for years and years and years. That's not what this is referring to. This is being prepared for an emergency. And just turn on the news. You see it almost daily. I'm getting pings of earthquakes occurring all over the place. Several visionaries have said that the era of the earthquakes has now come. What if you're in that area? Or you don't even have to be in the earthquake area. It could just something big could occur and disrupt the normal flow of goods. Suddenly you don't have supplies at your supermarket, or your money becomes worthless because it's crashed, or the banks are down because of the main central bank is their computers are down, because of an earthquake or a natural disaster or a fire or anything else for that matter. And if anyone here is looking at, for instance, my website after the warning, you're going there knowing what's coming, or at least a basic idea. We have every kind of plague and every kind of chastisement coming, but also an era of peace afterwards. So don't lose hope. But we know all the things that are going to be coming. This is about preparing for that. At least in a little sense. Will you use it? Will you ever need it? Maybe not. But I'll tell you what, if you're one of those people who have to flee from a forest fire or a tsunami coming in because of an earthquake under the water, you will be glad you have it. You will be thankful that you have a bag full of diapers for your baby, because no one's going to have it. You're not going to go to the store and be able to use your debit card and get it. You'll have it. You'll have a flashlight. You'll have the resources you needed. It might not be everything. It's not going to give you, that luxury you are used to living in, but it will give you at least a peace of mind that you can survive what is happening, even if it's just for a few days until help arrives. You got it. And if you wait until the event occurs, you waited too long. As for those who don't believe, this is still wise to do. How can it not? Everyone sees what's happening around the world. Every time you turn the news on, there's another natural disaster or more. The war is spreading, and we all know a greater war is coming, and that the world leaders are planning on a global economic collapse. What are you going to do? Wait until that day comes? You already know it's going to be coming. At least have things ready. There is one last thing I wanted to say to the audience, if you didn't mind.
Yes, go on.
When I first started this, I actually abandoned it the first time because someone that I trusted, and I still do, he told me, you know what, there's not enough time to build such an app. And I listened. I felt, the warning's going to be coming any day. And, why would I build something if it's all for nothing? And that was in 2020 when he told me that. Last year, I got to the point where it dawned on me, if I would have listened the first time, we probably would have had this out long ago. Though I love this version far better. It's so much nicer than that one. I hated that one. But we've done it. But I want people to realize, yes, we're living in the end times. I believe it's the end times. Is it? No guarantee. I think it is. But it doesn't mean to sit back and wait for everything to collapse. If you have ideas, why not go and start it? Go and build it. Yeah. I mean, look, this took me
100%.
I started it when I thought that everyone was like, oh, you know what? The beginning of 2025, the warning's coming. I actually thought it probably could. So when I was preparing to build this, I made a deal with God. I said, I'm going to do this. I don't know when the warning's coming. If it comes and I can't complete this, praise be to God. I surrender it to you. You knew ahead of time. May it give you glory, even though I never got it out. But if the warning doesn't come, I pray that you will bless us and allow it to help others. And look where we are. It didn't come yet. I still believe it's coming, but it hasn't come yet. So, and I say this because I was stuck in that analysis paralysis for so long, sometimes for years, thinking, oh, the warning's going to be here. It's going to be coming. Why would I build this? Why would I start this business? Why would I build that thing or invent this? That's not what God wants of you. He doesn't want you or anyone else to sit there in fear, waiting for the end. What did he tell the people when they were captured and brought into Babylon? He didn't tell them to sit on their thumbs and wait till 7 years. He told them, go into exile as slaves, but I want you to go and build and marry, have children, plant vineyards, grow gardens. He told them to do things, even though they thought the end of everything was here. They lost Jerusalem. They lost all of Israel. They were dragged into slavery. God said, don't sit there. I want you to do.
Don't despair. Despair is the opposite of hope and opposite of salvation.
Right. And a lot of people, they don't start these projects now because they think, what's the point? The end is going to be here anyway. And once the warning comes, everything's going to collapse. And don't think of it that way. The warning might not come for another 10 years. If you have an idea, you want to build something, you want to build that home, or you want to, make plans for this business, pray to God, ask for his guidance, move forward. Keep your eyes on what may come, be prepared, make yourself a bug out bag just in case, but move forward. Don't let fear stop.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for putting all this together. It's an amazing work, and I think it's greatly needed, especially with our community, our end times Catholic community. It's a really important guide for people to follow, and we know that there's something to fall back on. There's a really good website and an app coming up soon that we're able to use to help us through these difficult times, especially in preparing physically. We know a lot about preparing spiritually. We're not really informed much about the physical preparation. So thank you for doing this. I want to really thank you for putting your effort into it, because I think it's going to be very fruitful and important for times ahead.